and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship, Day 2, Week 5. My name is Jake Hitbrain Matthews, and I am joined by Rick Saga Sharples as we kick it off into the semi-final stage of Week 5's Tower Challenge.
Oh man, what a day it was yesterday. Day 1 was definitely one for the history books. We had so many upsets, so many back and forth games, and a couple of stumps.
No more upsets for me, though, as I perfectly predicted my way through that stage of the day. Although this is going to be the tough climb for Eminem and myself, because I've put them on top of the tower for this week. They got to get past XL, they got to get past Fnatic, and first of all, they also have to get themselves past Envision, who are looking pretty good at the moment, to be fair.
Yeah, you made some assumptions there. You're throwing your predictions out subtly and sneakily. As first game of the day will be XL versus Enclave, and you just predicted XL.
I did. I mean, to be fair, I think Enclave looked very good, but this is XL. This is a very scary XL. And, you know, I'm expecting to see our finals really to be Fnatic versus XL. I think
it's fair to say.
If we look at the points so far, I think it's a fairly easy assumption to make.
Might be leaning that
We
direction
might see an upset
slightly.
though. It could. And you know, maybe if you want to come down to the finals, we actually have some limited availability left on the tickets. So head over to uklc.gg/tickets if you want to pick yourself up some tickets. You were a little late there. You were hesitant to do it.
I kind of forgot that we planned that.
We literally practiced that. Let's do it once again. It's down there. It's uklc.gg. You can't do it. You went so early. I didn't even say GG. It's dot.
That's it, yeah.
All right, one more time. uklc.gg/tickets if you want to come get yourselves tickets and see us messing around on camera.
I'm so glad we rehearsed that.
We totally rehearsed that. If you want to get involved in the conversation, which we definitely did, make sure you head over to our Twitter, which is LVPUKLOL, and you can use that hashtag. Do you want to do a hashtag? How are we going to do it?
I think we'll leave it.
I'm going to
hashtag.
Hashtag. We're just making dance moves on there. There we go. So hashtag. That works. You do it like that. All right, cool. And hashtag UKLC, and then you can get yourself featured on the stream and part of the conversation, as we spent way too much time on this segment. Also, we do have a YouTube channel, which is LVP UK LOL. We're not going to be doing the play button for that. If you want to come watch all of the previous vids and videos, vids and videos. Someone can someone can draw it. Yeah, there you go. That's the way right way around. If you want to watch last week, which was insane because we had 3 backdoors. It was really good, and I mean the highlight has to be earlier on the old Malphite.
Whacking the Yorick.
Whacking down. No, I'm talking about last week on the Malphite when he was just punched the Nexus. The slowest backdoor I've ever seen.
He tried it again this week, to be fair.
He did.
It didn't
16
go
minutes.
Quite as well. But
I mean, I would argue it went okay apart from him dying, but he did smack on some turrets.
That's kind of what I'm talking about when I say it didn't go as well. Hey, I mean, that was yesterday's games.
Yeah.
Get them on the YouTube channel or get some highlights of them.
Yeah, or we can have a little look at actually what happened yesterday in our games between XL versus Barrage was our first game of the day. It was a pretty one-sided affair. We also had our match of the week, which was what we ended on, which was Eminem versus Demise. And that was also a really one-sided game, but we had some... The kind of middle of the pack was a lot more back and forth and some pretty interesting games yesterday, actually.
Yeah, especially at the start of the day, XL versus Barrage. There was a role swap thing going on. XL's pretty famous for them. But look at this. Bear Tree on his debut performance on the Aatrox, absolutely dominating Rengis in the 1v1s in lane. Unfortunately, wasn't enough to transition it into a win as... Rengis kind of took over in the later stages of the game. Yeah, and you can see it right here. This is one of the most sick, perfect executions I've ever seen to dodge out on a choose crescendo. Lands himself this shuriken flip, comes in and it whip out the way. Doesn't take any damage from a Chew there. Just off to the side, Beely also got a massive streamer shuffle, pushing anyone who's going to be able to defend Chimera and Chew away from Rengis, and he just eats them alive. A fantastic game by Rengis to get that game win for them, and he has to kind of channel some of this success because they're playing XL today. Yeah, they're really going to need to bring their A game for this one. And Vision definitely brought their A game as well yesterday, looking like a completely new team. These guys have absolutely smashed Diabolus in the early stages of the game with Infinity's Karthus, having so much impact in the early stages, and Brelia getting so far ahead. Like we say, he's knocking on Nexus Towers at 16 minutes. This game was not what a lot of people were expecting based on
Hey,
what
man,
the predictions were other than
called
yourself.
I called it. I saw Envision last week, and I went, you know what? I believe. I'm all aboard the Envision hype train here. Demise let me down when I voted for them. Envision, they did not in this game. And then we obviously had, this was the M&M versus Demise game, and
This is
poor Chips got robbed hard
This
here.
is the highlight that just hurts to watch because you just know that he was like, give me Penta, give me the Penta. And
did you see Yusa's tweet this morning?
I saw the tweet that said we still haven't had a pentakill in UKLC yet. Forge of Champions, we've had them.
Yeah,
UKLC,
it was Sendo
we're
on the
still
Yoga.
waiting. It was, could have been Chibs, man. It could have been Chibs.
That was... Yusa, man. You robbed
actually
me as
hurts.
hard as you robbed Chips there. But we do have our unsung hero from
Spoiler,
yesterday's
it's not
games.
Yusa.
Spoiler, definitely
Don't
not
steal
Yusa.
Pentas.
It is Rengus who is going to be the top laner for Enclave. And I mean, while his KDA doesn't particularly show off how well he played, I think he had a rough game versus Beartooth in the top lane, but he was playing some of these later stages really, really well.
Yeah, we've seen kind of the ups and downs of his games in that highlight package where he was getting 1v1 by Beartree, the rookie for Feline, who just came with really good mechanics in the laning phase. But when he got to the later stages of the game, Rengus just took over in the fights, completely shutting out the Sona and Tom Kench that Feline have sort of relied on to get some of their victories so far. And absolutely just taking the Sona out of the fights was so key in the overall victory.
But has to make sure he can kind of have that kind of performance today if he wants to get a win for Enclave. But he's going up against Sendo here. Like, Sendo this is the new and improved Sendo. This guy is looking like one of the top laners in the UK. His team is second on points. I honestly don't know, like, it's hard for me to place who our top three are, but I know that Sendo is at least in contention for number one on my lists. He's just been looking so good. And speaking of people who've been looking good, I've been looking incredible in the prediction game. So let's bring these up and just rub that in. In-house, big brain, small brain, apparently, Orcs is currently sitting on 10 points. He inted last week by going 0 points. The most he can get this week is 2 points.
He's trying. Bless him.
He is.
Yeah.
He's having a real bad go of it.
Yeah, this is the problem is I always pick the same things as Orcs. Like, just purely coincidentally, and then as soon as I see that, I'm like, I've
You
ruined
think
it.
you
I've
think
actually
too
ruined
much.
it.
I've learned
Pick
over
with
the
heart,
years
not brain.
to just invest in the madness of the UK, and that's what I do on my predictions. I'm going, you know what? I'm gonna go for Demise here. I'm gonna
I'll
go
go
for
for
this
next
here, and you just throw out some random stuff, and that's how you get it. Let's have a little look at the bracket and see who'll be playing who and at what times today. So we'll be starting the day off with XL versus Enclave. Then we'll be in the second semi-final. It'll be Envision versus M&M. Then the winners of those will be going through into the finals. And then we'll have our Tower Challenge versus Fnatic Rising, the team who lost the tower at the beginning of last week and then were able to claim it back from XL at the tail end of week 4.
Yeah, and these games today are actually quite exciting because really the only close game that we actually had yesterday was for a large portion of the game Feline versus Enclave. The rest of them were pretty one-sided. Even Envision against Diabolus, which was a little bit unexpected on a lot of fronts for Envision to come out looking as strong as they did. So all of these teams are coming in looking really, really good. But XL, they've been looking good pretty much throughout the whole split, and it's going to be tough for Enclave to take them down.
It's going to be tough, as that is our first matchup of the day. It's going to be Enclave versus XL. Enclave, they did have a good game yesterday. They were able to pull it back considering there were some losing lanes and it wasn't completely perfect for them. But XL, they are on a tear. They're looking mad, they're looking angry, and they're looking for one team in particular. That is Fnatic Rising.
They want to take that tower back. Been too long since they've been up there, which was sort of
Last week.
some of last week.
They had it,
It's too long.
for a day, and then Fnatic came back
And
and,
then
just
lost
ripped
it
it off
again.
them again. But, like, so far, we've only had XL and Fnatic at the top of the tower. So I think, before we look at that, they do have to beat Enclave. I know on paper it looks like it's the win, but they still have to kind of, play it out right. So let's have a look at our teams who will be starting up in this game. On the blue side, it's going to be XL. So in the top lane, Sendo, Taxit in the jungle, Exile in the mid lane, Hyun and ADC, and Kasing as support.
Looking to put an end to their hot streak on the other side of the rift, it will be Enclave with Rengus, our unsung hero, in the top lane, Scood in the jungle, Beely in mid, Kevo on AD carry, and Raisins as support.
Yeah, and I think Raisins is having a pretty decent performance so far. There has been obviously weaknesses. We know Enclave haven't been able to achieve too many points so far, but I think he has been a pretty solid kind of centerpiece to the Enclave roster. And the other man who's been a real centerpiece for me has been Beely. This guy has been performing very well. And now he's to go against Exile, who, you know, while Exile is very good at these solo kills and very good at playing aggressively in lane, he actually makes a lot of mistakes. That's what lost them their spot at the top of the tower versus Fnatic last week. You know, it is a concern, but I think if there's an exploitable spot for me, it is actually going to be Exile, even though I'd say maybe on paper, he might be one of the top players.
And you could kind of see it in yesterday's game where he was on the Tristana. He was going so aggressive, like rocket jumping forward twice, and he wasn't getting punished for it, but against a team who's looking more on form could definitely be a problem for them.
Well, our matchup to watch actually is going to be the top lane coming into this game, Sendo versus Rengis. Now, Sendo, I've been saying it all season long, this is not the Sendo we've been seeing from splits gone by. This is Sendo on his top form. This is peak Sendo. He's looking incredible so far. The Gnar has been a big catalyst for him. And Rengis, well, yes, he lost lane to the rookie Beartooth yesterday. His later game performances on that Akali were really good. And I think Rengis has got a few things up his sleeve. You've got to keep in mind, he's still got that Rengar as his pocket top lane pick as well. We've seen Bwipo playing it on the main Fnatic squad over in the LEC. So, you know, there is potential for this Rengar to maybe come out and show its teeth versus Sendo, and that might be something that they can use to buckle what is normally a sturdy lane and a sturdy position for XL.
Yeah, and especially with Rengis having a little bit of a struggle in the early game yesterday, Sendo's had some amazing early games, like throwback to the 3-man Irelia stun at level 1 that really got the ball rolling against, I believe, Eminem, I want to say. But yeah, it was... You really do need to shut this guy down, because especially if he gets his hands on the Irelia, which has been a huge pick for XL throughout the whole split in the top and the mid, he can start taking over games. This is exactly why he's one of our matchup to watch.
All right, well, we've headed into picks and bans. That's going to be Hyun and Heimerdinger taken away. Rengis not getting his hands on the Akali, and Kevo going to be denied away that Sivir. Now, this is FlexL. This is the team who can, you know, we might be talking about the Rengis-Sendo matchup, but we have seen Sendo take Cassiopeia bot lane so far.
Yeah, like
we've
Hyun
seen
and top.
Hyun and top. We've seen Hyun and mid. We've seen special bot lane. We haven't seen Exile flex out of mid yet so far. He seems to be the least flexible in the team, but then he just takes Tristana and runs it mid. So he's running ADs. That's
not
the
going to happen today,
ban,
though. Tristana has been taken away from Enclave. They saw the aggression and just how quickly he was popping out the Corki of D.Va in the mid lane yesterday and in the top lane, just all over the map. This guy was everywhere. So they don't want that to be an opportunity for XL to start looking for advantage.
All right, well, Enclave, one more ban to go. They've taken away Tristana, like you said. That's going to be the Yuumi ban. Don't want to give over anything that could potentially kind of enable XL's madness, as Yuumi can keep head up with the likes of that Garen. And for now, XL looking to try and pick up their first pickup. There has been a pick that has been banned away a little bit, and we've seen it once mid lane from Magic Felix, which is this Camille, but they're currently hovering. I don't know if it's first pickable, to be honest, but XL, maybe they have something some tricks up their sleeve. As actually, nope, they're going to go away. Let's pick himself up the Sejuani. We've seen this go bot lane with the Yasuo, and I think it was XL that ran that. It was either XL or Fnatic who ran that.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to like the Gragas Yasuo, where you can just get the early combination of a single target knock-up with the ultimate, and it can happen so damn quickly, where you can just like body slam flash or Arctic Assault and flash and knock someone up from absolutely nowhere, and then you have the additional lockdown as well. So potentially could be a combination we're looking at for the side of XL, but otherwise it is just a very solid jungler in the current meta.
Well, that's actually going to be another solid staple pick getting picked up here, as the Karma is picked up for Enclave. Now, people have been picking this Karma up. It hasn't had the most high win rate in the UK scene so far. We actually finally saw the tank iteration of it. We've seen a lot of full AP top lane Karmas and support Karmas. We haven't seen this Iceborne top lane Klepto Karma until yesterday, when it was actually pulled out by Sendo, if I'm right. And that is Scoot.
Okay.
He's been hovering about this Nidalee for the entirety of the split, and now he's going to lock it in.
I like that, because Enclave in the early game yesterday, ignoring the fact that Rengis was getting solo killed, got a lot of advantages in the early game from their bot lane, grouping up with their jungler and invading and keeping Soft completely out of the game. So it could be another potential avenue, because Nidalee will be looking to try and get those invades.
Well, I just got very distracted by the art of Scoot dressed up as Nidalee there. There it is again. We actually have the Yasuo Corki lock-in. Now, I actually expect Hyun to take the Corki and go mid, and Exile to take the Yasuo, tether up the Sejuani, slam that in the bot lane, get himself a sturdy 2v2 bot lane, which is going to be very oppressive. And what is Enclave's answer to this? Because Beely, he's been playing a lot of this as this. They're going to at least pick themselves something kind of staple in the mid lane. And this will most likely force the Corki to go in the mid. And then you kind of just have a neutralizing mid lane, but both want some time and some farm to get going. But XL can look to kind of ban away things, but will be strong into this Yasuo, potentially Sejuani bot lane.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of mid lanes, particularly again in yesterday's games, be decided really by who can outshove the other, especially the LeBlanc game where she never had a chance to do anything because she was just under her tower the entire game. Whereas in a matchup like this, no one's really going to be outshoving their opponent. It's all going to depend on back timings and who's going for roams with their junglers. So I'm definitely looking at Scood here as being the one to initiate a lot of the early plays, potentially get a lot of invades down. So banning out some strong junglers that would be able to stand up to that invasion from Nidalee could definitely be what Enclave is looking for here.
All right, well, the Lucian gets taken away by XL. Going for things that can kind of go toe-to-toe in lane, can play aggressive early. The Gnar denied from Sendo. Pair that with the likes of the Yasuo, actually, that can make for a big last breath. So, and again, it's also a massive comfort pick for Sendo. It's something that he's looked so excellent on. It's going to be denied from him here. Now XL looking to ban away one more champion. And we'll see how these teams start to kind of group up and kind of merge together, because at the moment we don't know who the hell is going where on XL. We can only guess at the moment.
Yeah, I think Enclave needs to make sure that XL doesn't get their hands on like a huge AoE knockup that can really initiate the Yasuo fights, because at the moment you've got the Sejuani who can knock up one or possibly two people, which similarly to the Gragas can start off maybe a small pick, but for team fight initiation, it's not really exactly what the Yasuo was looking for. But you have the Sejuani who can get fights started from distance.
Yeah. Do you want to know the true like high Q play here?
The Malphite again, just
no,
backdooring.
Corki's package will displace them, which counts.
True.
Obviously, that's a terrible engage. Don't do that.
Then you've got a Corki 1v5.
But it is potentially high IQ. That's going to be Raisin's getting his hands onto the Rakan. So going for something that can kind of jump in on top of whoever is going bot lane for XL. But you got to think, if he gets caught out, those permafrost stacks are going to stack up really, really fast, and you're going to die if it's the Sejuani Yasuo bot lane. Tax is going to get his hands onto the Lee Sin. That's something that can potentially set up for, you know, that aggressive jungle. So we know Sejuani is at least going top or bot now. We're most likely going to see it bot lane. So XL most likely looking here towards getting themselves a hands on a top laner. The question is what is Sendo going to be playing? They don't know exactly who they're playing into from Enclave. Most likely going to be the Karma at this point. Actually, it will be the Karma because they've brought the Rakan in. So what do they pick up? They go for the Nico. They want some AP threat in there.
Okay, I do actually like the Rakan lock-in because similarly to the Pyke he had yesterday, again, it can group up with the jungler and have a lot of impact early on with a lot of lockdown potential, which Nidalee does lack, but she brings a lot of damage. So if they are able to find out Tax are in his jungle, Lee Sin can skirmish, but I don't think he can really 1v3 that well in the early stages of the game. So it could be a similar situation where they're just looking to force him to have very little impact. But with the Nico and the Lee Sin lock-in, that's the big AoE knock-up teamfight engage I'm looking for.
Okay, so that's
that
Rakan, Karma bot lane, I think. And they'll play for heavy shove. And then you send the Camille top lane, who can jump on top of the Nico, because Nico wants to play at range. And, you know, if you do get into melee range and that tether's down, you're in for a world of hurt. So, okay. I like that. Now, Exile is going to be the one piloting this Yasuo, but I do expect to see him swap lane. I don't think we're going to have a Corki Sejuani bot lane into a Rakan Karma. That just sounds awful to me. Yeah,
especially the fact that Hyanan has picked up teleport, whereas Exile's got the exhaust, makes me think that it will actually be in combination, because they've got the dual combat summoner spells if the Yasuo will be heading to the bottom, which could be indicating they're going to be looking to go aggressive very early on and punish the fact that there's no heal on the side of Enclave. But what they have with that heavy pushing, as you mentioned, is the ability to shove them into the tower and then group up with Scood and try and punish Taxa in his own jungle, get some control in that aspect. Whereas on the side of XL, it's a featured matchup in the top lane. It can go either way, but I think Sendo should, based on previous performances, be able to get himself an advantage in the early stages. So perhaps Taxa will be looking to really shut this Camille down in the early stages and get Sendo as far ahead as he can.
I think you're right. Sendo's definitely been performing well in lane and into the late game. Well, Rengus he's had good team fighting and kind of good mid game, but his early game has been questionable so far from me. So if he can kind of shut Sendo down, we'll see how Sendo can play from behind, because from what I remember of Sendo from playing behind, I haven't seen him play from behind for a while.
Yeah.
He's that can be a bit of a weaker point for him. I mean, obviously playing from behind is always a weaker point for anyone because you're down in gold, you're down in like items and stuff like that. But
what they do
it could cause, you know, maybe a situation that Sendo's not used to playing from behind in competitive. So that's going to be what maybe we'll see some attention go up there.
But what they do have for XL, if they do fall behind in the early stages, is loads of utility for their team fights. So many big AoE ultimates that can completely get things shut down around these objectives.
Well, we've taken to the Rift for week 5, day 2, game 1. Semi-finals kicking off right here, right now. XL versus Enclave. We've had some spicy picks around the board here.
No Corgi skin, though.
No Corgi skin.
Dang. Not going to see any dogs face down in the dirt under the top lane towers because Exiles dived on them and killed them for the 5th time this game.
That was sad to watch.
It really
That was real sad to watch.
Taxa did spot out Scood very early on, so the thought process here for XL is that Scood will be starting on his top side of the map, but Scood is recalling, so they could be looking to switch things up and head back to the bottom, or maybe he's just placed down his early ward, switched over to the red trinket actually already, so he can actually try and find some paths to have some early aggression by shutting down the wards very early on.
I actually really like that. It's an interesting way to kind of start it off, wants to get himself the ability to make these plays happen, and obviously Nidalee, a power farmer, not quite as strong as days gone by, but with these traps, early levels, should be able to kind of clear out this wave nice and quick here.
Just as I said before that XL might be looking to punish the lack of heal on the Enclave bot lane, Raisins did actually switch to heal, so having the double combat summoner spells, they will have one up and available for the side of Enclave, which is more of a defensive option, but it's probably what you're going to be looking to do. You're not going to want to take the 2v2 fights in this bot lane, you just want to shove in, start roaming with the Rakan. If Scood can be towards the bot side, get some pressure maybe towards the mid lane and get the Azir ahead in this mid lane matchup.
You can already see the Enclave bot lane will get an early shove. This is kind of how you expect the Rakan and Karma lane to go, into double melee.
Okay. It's not going to be fun for the first few levels, but if there is a potential chance that Kasing can dash forwards and get some aggression going, it can be deadly.
Yeah, it can be very, very dangerous. As level 2 is going to be kind of a high priority moment for Enclave. They want to hit it first, so they do have all of the tools to avoid what XL can do, because if they were to hit level 2, it would have been really, really bad for them. But for the moment, actually looks like they're just going to move over and try and pick up the Krugs. You got a wave pushing in, but it's kind of a bit of a slow push.
Yep. Both junglers were positioned towards the top side of the map. Scood used his red trinket to clear out the early vision from Sendo. So now Sendo has to be acknowledging the fact that his ward has been placed, but it's been cleared out. So he could be falling victim to some aggression.
Scood's actually looking to find that spear into Hyanan, but you can see Taxa making his way over. Hyanan, he has a fleet footwork. He's fine. He didn't even take the spear. That's going to be the kick by Taxa, though. He's jumping onto Scood. Got the double bust. He's got the burn. Scood jumps away, and Taxa slides in forward. Here comes Beely onto Taxa, though. He's got Sand just to work with. The blast goes in the wrong direction. Taxa has to flash away from the fight. Now, Hyanan has still got some damage, has still got some mana. Raisin's making his way up. You can also see Hevo making his way forward as well. And now Hyanan, he might be the one who's been caught out as he's been slowed down. Scood not enough health to completely commit for the fight, and Enclave put a lot of resources towards that mid lane and just burned Taxa's flash.
So all in all, the aggressive play with the blind Q over the wall to try and get the skirmish going and get rid of Nidalee and her presence in the early stages kind of backfires on XL, as it's Taxa who, well, the blast cone was a bit of an issue, but he's forced to flash away. But again, it's this bottom lane that's shoving in for Enclave into the double melee matchup, so they're able to roam first. So any potential for a turnaround onto the low health Nidalee was completely nullified by the fact that Karma and Rakan got there so quickly.
It's the power of that shove. Our matchup to watch, just being a little bit more relaxed. They're fairly equal in CS. It's the mid lane, it's the bot lane. These are the lanes that excite me at the moment in this stage.
Taxa's on his way up.
Yeah, he's stepping away.
So he got rid of the ward. And then backs away, so Rengus places a more defensive one, so he doesn't have vision as far forward. So now Taxa's going to be looking to be the one who's trying to invade onto some jungle camps. So Scood going to find a nasty surprise by his rep.
Hyanan's quite happy just to push out this wave here for the moment. Scood does have to be a little careful as Taxa is making his way through. Scood has to be careful because Hasn't got really the health to work with. The kick's down by Taxa. There is a smite available to him, and now Kianan's working his way forward. The Raptor hasn't actually reset yet, and that spear is going to kind of help with the leash. The reset now finally makes its way through, and Beely only just finishes clearing out the wave that's underneath his tower. This is why he was unable to roam. He's just been so hard shoved as Rengis is just getting bullied top lane currently.
Again, it's the ranged into melee matchup, so it will just inherently go in favor of the ranged champion. To be fair, the AP damage wasn't quite as strong as it could have been because it looks as though this will be the on-hit Nico build with the Doran's Blade and press the attack as the mastery, so could have been a little bit more if it was potentially the AP build, a bit of the damage under the tower, but Rengis is still going to be forced to go back and burn his teleport to get back in the lane and instantly takes another burst too.
Junglers are on the same side of the map so far as Kasing. Does need to be a little careful, just trying to stop the bases here. Does lose half his health for it to the minion aggro for the most part. It does stop Enclave from leaving lane. Kevo has still got that teleport available and can look to pull the trigger if he wants, but now Scood looking to maybe try and make some plays happen onto Sendo. Sendo does have 6, and Raisin's not got the Hextech ultimatum quite yet. Even though Scood's not been spotted out on any wards, he smells something amiss, so he steps away.
There was just the Vision Ward placed. I'm not sure whether it was by Scood or by Rengis, which may have potentially tipped off Sendo to the fact that was coming. But oh, Beely not quite landing it.
And that's kind of an out-of-character mistake for Beely on this Azir. Typically, he's been very consistent with those streamer shuffles and doesn't quite find it this time. Kevin's still not actually had that base as it was forced out earlier. You can see Raisins is going for a little bit of a defensive vision control around his side of the map. And he needs to be careful because Exile is about, but you can see Scoot is making his way forward. The spear goes wide, and actually that looks like a bit of a lapse in communication here. Raisins looks to try and come over the wall, but now Scoot has to jump away. The Sing goes in for a light trade, and I feel like if the communication was there between jungle and support, they might have pulled the trigger for a fight.
Yeah, Taxa was hovering around on the bot side though, and Kevo was still clearing out the lane in the bottom, so it would have turned into a 4 versus 3 in favor of XL, so maybe a little bit beneficial for Enclave that they didn't actually decide to go all out aggressive on that one, particularly with the fact that Beely's Emperor's Divide is no longer available, having not quite landed that properly in the mid lane. He didn't want to fully commit to the aggressive play with his jungler to flash behind Kianan and guarantee it. So keeping his options available, his summoners, should Taxa look to try and get some pressure down in the mid lane, but with both of the mid and the bottom lane being shoved in favor of XL, should be a free dragon picked up for them.
Yeah, for them it's just going to be a cloud, right? The next one spawning up will be that mountain, so maybe something a little bit more interesting and exciting, which teams might try and fight over, but Enclave needs to be careful because there is a potential for a gank here. XL does have that 6 mark, gets himself the last breath down. Kevin flashes away, the exhaust is enough. Raisins leaps out though, and XL goes underneath the tower. The flash is enough for Raisins to make his way out alive, and Enclave 2v3 somehow come out alive.
That was the combination we're looking for with the Q flash from Sejuani, instantly followed up by the Yasuo ultimate. But it's a Karma and Rakan. There is so much defensive utility in those two champions. Shielding, heals, everything. And even though it is 2 flashes and a heal burned, they do survive, but they lose any semblance of pressure in this lane. And Taxa is just grouping up with the bot lane, shoving down and punishing this ranged matchup, which should be shoving into their double melees. But they're just taking advantage of the fact that they have no defensive tools left.
In the meantime, Scoot is just going for a bit of a clear. I say a bit of a clear, just a full clear of Taxa's topside jungle. Denies that from him, but a lot of pressure was asserted in the bot lane with that, and you can see the CS deficit starting to grow in favor of Exile over Kevo, and you have to think what Exile's Yasuo is going to be able to do with a gold lead over Kevo.
Yeah, it's going to be quite disgusting, but if we're looking at Nidalee's having a lot of just free time to farm. She isn't getting the early ganks, which you do need to be looking for as this Nidalee pick, because you need to start snowballing, but she does now have the Runic Echoes completed and has that extra burst of damage. So there is a lot of vision control for Enclave on the top side of the map, so could potentially be heading up there very, very soon after she starts clearing it out, but she will be spotted out by yet another ward on her Raptors.
I just see him Raisins put his shirt on the wrong way around, apparently. It's going to be a bit of a route onto Rengis. Rengis, once again, every time we look at top lane, he's just getting poked and bullied by Sendo, who's gone for the press the attack as his keystone. Rengus is doing a good job at least staying equal in CS. He has that tier max. He's able to kind of deal with a lot of this early shove. And meanwhile, the bot lane is quite content pushing away. Taxa is just sitting bot lane.
Yeah, but Scoot is kind of doing a similar thing in the top lane. He's taken away all of the jungle camps on the top side. And he's just not getting the pressure.
That's
that
the
Taxa
difference.
has.
That is the key difference is while Taxa's farming the top side, he's also asserting so much pressure, which is just giving plates and pressure over to Exile in the bot lane. Scoot is just farming. He hasn't actually attempted that gank.
Scoot is now picking up the Rift Herald, though, so they can transition that into some gold in the form of the tower plates. But it's already Hyanan having moved his way up towards the top side. Oh, just kidding, it's Sendo using his passive. Psych, but Hyanan is here as well, but he's a little bit too late to put a stop to the Rift Herald, so I'm expecting that to be put into either one of the solo lanes. Can start getting some impact through some items, but Exile might be caught out here.
That's going to be the Tether onto him. That's going to be Raisin's throwing the ulti out, gets himself a knockoff. Exile tries to 1v2 here, misses out on the Q. Now Kasing and Taxa are making their way back. They don't have any movement speed left. They don't have any flashes. A two-man knockoff comes out by Kasing. First blood will be picked up onto Kevo. Raisins is on the wrong side of the map, and Exile gets himself a kill. 2 kills to Exile in the bot side.
Oh man, Taxa just loves to be sitting down in this bottom lane, and it pays off finally. After 10 minutes into the game, it is 2 kills picked up for Exile and Kasing, but there is the Rift Herald traded out for some damage onto the tower. But there, you can't windwall the Rakan engage, but what you can do is call your teammates down to give you the assistance when you have no defensive summoners available.
Oh, we're back getting caught out. Sendo has himself the Pop Blossom. Scoot flashes away, gets himself a heal, but he is going to get caught out. The Hextech ultimatum bins in for time, and Sendo gets a kill. Rengus is going to fall down. And Sendo finds himself a cheeky double kill. Beely spacing on top of a ward, basing in top of vision, is trying to find some way to slide away, but in comes Taxa. He finds the Sonic kick. He slides in for the kill. And this should just be the end of Beely. I don't think he has the damage to work with here. He does get himself a cheeky escape, but Hyanan picks his first kill up, and XL 5-0 on the board.
Possibly potential for him to have got out of that with the Emperor's Divide if it had come just a second earlier, but no, it was pretty doomed because Exile would have just roamed over from the mid lane where he was just knocking down that tower. And they've already taken the bot lane tower completely before the tower plates have even fallen. So that's so much gold on this bottom lane that they can just freely stroll around. Look at the difference, 2,500 difference between the bot laners. It's 12 minutes into the game. It's 5-0 for Excel. It's a 5,000 gold lead overall.
And Enclave, they had an okay start. They were able to deal with some of this pressure that had been put down onto them, but alas, it wasn't enough here. As the early lead has now fallen once again in Excel's favor, but you know, we've seen them throw these gold leads out the window before.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of teams throw gold leads out of the window.
No, not quite as spectacular as XL have.
Yeah. It's against Fnatic, though, to be fair. So they definitely are a team that knows what they're doing in the later stages of the game, where some teams have struggled to close out.
That might just be the last breath coming down, and a chain CC means XL finds a kill onto Beely. Beely just well overstepping there. And every time you see XL, you see multiple members with Exile and Taxa. That's going to be a knockoff though. They're coming in for the fight. The kick away will do a bit of damage, and Exile is going to go down. The shutdown picked up by Kevo. Scoot flashes away. He is ignited, but he will make his way out alive. And Enclave find themselves a quick pick and a shutdown. They can be pretty happy with that one.
It leaves them in this 2 versus 2 in the mid lane as Scoot is way too low to continue any sort of aggression. So he's forced to back away, and Hyanan can now start roaming up from the bot side just in time for this Mountain Drake to come back up. And Scoot, he's going to have to go back to base if he wants enough health to contest this.
Interesting thing is Sendo's actually gone for the on-hit Nico. Look how much damage he's doing to Rengus here. The full attack speed does so much work.
Yeah, so the poke under the tower wasn't quite as powerful as it could have been, but I mean, when he's taking the extended trades, Sendo is coming out on top so frequently. Just having that inherent ranged advantage is so powerful, especially now that he's starting to get the items to back up his auto attack down.
Beely's just going to try and pick himself up. This blue buff needs it to really reliably clear out the wave, as the tower in the top lane will finally crumble to Sendo's pressure. 2-0, remember, building towards that Blade the Ruin King. He's just got so much damage to work with at this point. Rengus stuck at a loss, needs to get this Triforce before maybe he can find some kind of confident kill pressure. Exile and Taxa are going to pick up Excel's Mountain Drake as their reward for how well they've played the laning phase. And that will go down. This just help them crack open this last outer turret and then start to open the game up a little bit more.
Yeah, they've been taking down turrets very early on as the first turret fell before 12 minutes. And Scoot, you're getting caught out.
You are getting caught out. The Pop Blossom will pin him in place. Scoot is just going to melt here to Sendo. So much damage, and Sendo picks up his 3rd kill.
Especially when a Nico is building in this way, it's the hybrid damage. The abilities still deal a good chunk of damage if you don't have the resistances for it. Scoot, did he get spotted out by this ward on the way in? That was the problem right there. They knew that he was on it. He still goes for the attempted invade, whereas he knows his top laner has been forced out of lane. He knows the tower's just fallen. He knows Sendo can collapse. And collapse he does. Scoot that falls.
And I mean, you are right. You talked about how you wanted to see more early from this Nidalee, and so far there's just not been a lot of early game enemies. Scoot's just kind of farmed, and it hasn't really accrued too much for him. He's got himself a 12 CS lead over Taxa.
Yeah,
like
Taxa's got the 2 dragons as well, so it's...
And 3 assists.
Yeah, it's...
Thank you very much, observers. You can see the gold lead is
a little bit of gold,
merely 500 between them, but
the grand scheme of things is still 6,500 gold down at 16 minutes.
Definitely going to be a rough one for Enclave if they want to try and pull this back, down 7k. Yarden's got himself the package. He's in this bot lane, and Taxa...
Oh, he might
I just don't think Taxa's been in his jungle since his first clear.
Oh, Scoot might
Scoot
get caught
might
out.
just get caught in. That's going to be a good ward hop over the wall now. Raisins and Kevo are also trying to back him up here a little bit. Taxa will steal away the big wolf. Maybe some kind of big engage could be enough, but the consistent damage that Enclave have is Beely, who's not even there in time at the moment. You can see the 5-man collapse by XL will spell them this turret. Kasing steps forward, gets himself a Glacial Prism. Raisins looks to jump in, but he just gets slowed down by the second half of the ulti. That's an ulti wasted by Raisins for Kasing's ult as well.
It was just a kind of defensive precaution for Raisins, just threatening that he would dive in if the dive continued for XL. So in the end, it's a trade of the support ultimates. The package from Corki did time out as he was just shoving in the bot lane against Beely, but Beely had to walk the long way around, and he's still in mid, so another tower just going to be picked up for free, and Taxa is here should Beely walk an unsafe route.
Oh, he does take the kick. Taxa sends him packing. It's going to be the 4th turret for Enclave. XL, sorry. Enclave almost getting perfect games if they hadn't found that 1 kill onto Exile, funnily enough. The man who has been caught out a few times for XL.
Yeah, it was in the middle of a big skirmish around the mid lane, and it was pretty close that Scoot only just barely got out, but it is still a 1 in the kills column for Enclave, which they can be slightly thankful for, giving Kevo a little bit of gold, but it's still nowhere near enough to close the gap between him and Exile.
This turret's going to fade away soon as well. Kevo just looking for a little bit of a poke onto Hyanan. Actually, he misses out on the Q. Hyanan able to sidestep that nice and easy. As 18 minutes on the clock here, the gold lead continues to grow, just 8,000. I say only, as if like 8,000 gold at 18 minutes isn't a lot. That's a lot of gold. You can see the items currently that are coming through. Infinity Edge and Static Shiv over a Hextech GLP for Kevo, and a Fiendish Codex. You got a Blade of the Rune King and Zeal over components of a Triforce and a Tiamat. Like, they are suffering hard here, Enclave. This
You're looking
is
at
really
the
rough.
2-item spike on the Yasuo, and it's very close as well for the Corki, and everyone knows when Corki gets 2 items, he will hurt, like, a lot. Especially when it's probably two of the most expensive items in the game in the Triforce and the Infinity Edge, so it takes a while for him to get to that point, but if he gets there as early as he potentially will in this game, there's just very little you can do without a super strong front line, and Enclave does not have one.
Oh, the GLP is going to be used there by Kevo just to try and slow down XL, but XL now walking up towards this top side of the map. That's where they want to look to pressure. They got the 1-3-1 pretty much used in full effect here. Hyanan quite happy just to shove away onto this turret with these waves, and Raisins just unable to do any kind of damage. He's getting caught out. That was 1 auto attack and 1 rocket onto Raisins, just chunks him.
Yeah, it's
Uh-oh,
pretty
Beely
disgusting.
puts out the Sand Soldiers. That's going to be the last breath coming down. Beely goes golden. Kasing uses his ulti, tanks out the tower for the moment. Beely flashes away, and Exile is able to get himself the kill. No response by Enclave in time, and that's going to be a kick onto Scoot. Raisins is low HP. Keep in mind, Hjarnan, he's going to do a lot of damage. The ulti by Raisins will slow down for the moment, and Scoot able to slide away. Exile being caught out by a couple of members here, but Rengus is also low. Exile could just try for a dive if he wants, and Sendo will pick up this turret here. Binding doesn't quite find its mark, and they don't get the tether off this time. Rengus slides in and just gets picked up by Taxa. A massive misplay for him as Exile will pick up another 2 kills. Enclave really suffering right now.
It really feels bad when you're Enclave, and every time you try and do anything even remotely proactive, Taxa just shows up and shuts it down in the bottom lane, and again now in the mid lane. They've cleared out so much vision between the top and mid lanes close to Enclave's base. They can just roam around freely, and they don't know where they're coming from.
Knockout comes onto Kasing here. Enclave do have a lot of damage at the moment. The health bars are low. Spear goes wide by Scoot. Beely continues his chase, but they are going to have to just step away. 20 minutes on the clock and an open inhibitor in the mid lane. Sorry, the top lane. A very low turret in the mid lane. And Enclave, this is just going dire for them.
Yeah, and the fact that Sendo is 4-0-1, he's looking to complete a second item as well. He's got the level advantage up against Rengus. No one can really contest him in the 1 versus 1, so he can just sit in a side lane and put some pressure on. Enclave don't really have that many options. Their engage tools is the Rakan, and he's so squishy that if he tries to dive forwards, he will just get blown up so quickly before you can really properly capitalize on it. Unless it's a like 5-man charm into the knockup, then maybe, but the damage still just isn't there for Beely.
Oh, Hjarnan does take a lot of damage here from Kevo. The tether's going to break as he uses the package to break it out, but actually a pretty good win there for Kevo in that mid lane. Now that he's got kind of the double GLP, the double glacial items. Synergize up very well with his keystone. But even so,
yeah,
I just like, even with that trade, it didn't even result in a kill. Didn't result in a shutdown. So Enclave, yeah, sure, he came out okay, but they lost another Mountain Drake in that time. And this is a fed Yasuo and a fed Corki who are going to be able to melt through this worm.
It's actually gross that Hjarnan has a 300. I've just seen it tick up to 350 gold bounty as well, and he's only 1-0-1.
Oh, kick by Taxa. Slides in, gets the Dragon's Rage out, dodges away on the hose pipe. Beely puts the turret up, but he's going to dodge away from the ulti by Kasing. Flank coming out by Scoot. Lands himself a spear. Raisins comes in for his flank. It's all around the map here. That's going to be the Hextech ultimation to pin Taxa in place. But here comes Exile with a massive, massive ulti. Sendo finds 2. Beely gets himself an ulti off onto a couple of members, but the ace is going to be there. A double kill picked up for Exile.
Taxa didn't even die.
That was just a whitewash for Exile.
Completely aced. Not a single member of XL dies, and Sendo pushing in the side lane just strolls over, didn't even teleport into the fight.
I mean, I entered the play-by-play just as much as Enclave entered that flank. This will be the game given over to XL. 22 minutes on the clock. The Nexus will be exposed. XL have one team in their sights, and it's going to be Fnatic Rising.
XL book their tickets to the finals and will be looking to make their way there today, just like Goat Express went to Twickenham Stadium today. I saw him in the Twitch chat, went there today, and they said, So, I mean, he was the Enclave in that situation as XL just shut him down and keeps him away from the finals.
There wasn't a single winning lane for Enclave, unfortunately. That game fell completely apart, and I have to look at the jungle difference, really, is the key thing there. If you look at the likes of Taxa, who would sit in the bot lane the whole time. He'd just be in the jungle, clearing camps, but also applying pressure, always as a threat. While Scoot, it was underwhelming. Not a lot really seemed to happen from that Nidalee. He got himself a counter invade in the top side, but did that spell any pressure onto Sendo, who was constantly pushing? No,
it really didn't.
It was just a bit of gold in his pocket, and it showed because Exile and Kasing were able to play with just complete freedom in the bot lane. They knew that Scoot wasn't going to be a threat because Taxa was always there.
Yeah, and Scoot, he had all the tools to have that pressure in the top side. He started off very early with the trinket, cleared out all of Sendo's vision, but Sendo he had the knowledge. He was like, okay, I know that Scoot is here. he just perfectly timed when he was shoving into the tower and harassing under the tower. You see Scoot on the opposite side of the map. He goes, okay, I can play aggressive. As soon as Scoot disappears, goes in the fog of war, he started to back away and play a little bit more respectfully of the fact that Nidalee can shut him down in the early stages. And it just allowed Taxa to sit on the bottom side and shut down this double range matchup that Enclave was looking to snowball the bot lane with.
Well, XL completely snowballed that game, and Enclave are unable to do anything about that. But we're going to cut to a quick break, and